Imagine this. You are at a big family gathering, or maybe a Friday office party. You are just standing there, holding your cup of chai, minding your own business.
The best place to be, honestly, just enjoying the snacks in the corner.
Right, exactly. But then a stranger walks up to you, they smile, they shake your hand, and they ask the most simple question in the world. They say, "So tell me about yourself."
Oh no, the scariest question.
It really is, and suddenly your brain just goes totally blank. It's like your memory is completely wiped. You forget your job, you forget what you like to do on weekends, you basically forget how to act like a normal human being.
You forget your own name sometimes.
Yes. Why does this happen? I mean, stating our own identity, telling someone who we are, should be the easiest thing in the world. We live with ourselves every day, but suddenly it feels like we are reading a very bad script from a school play.
It's so relatable, Yor. And it is actually a big puzzle of human communication. Logically, like you said, you are the world's biggest expert on you.
I have all the data.
Exactly, you have all the raw data. But the moment you are asked to present that data to a stranger, especially for a first impression, your brain's operating system just crashes.
Like a frozen computer screen.
Very much like that. And it crashes because the pressure of that first meeting triggers a real stress response in your body. It's a mild form of the fight or flight feeling.
Wait, really? Like we're in danger?
Yes, exactly. Your brain sees social judgment as a threat. So the part of your brain that handles complex thinking and making good sentences, it just shuts down temporarily.
So we are literally getting a brain freeze because our biology thinks the nice guy asking about our job is like a tiger trying to attack us.
In a way, yes. Historically, if society rejected you, it was very dangerous. So our brains take social situations very seriously. That is why so many of us do one of two things.
What do we do?
We either freeze completely and mumble something totally useless, like, I work in an office in the city, or we do the complete opposite.
Oh, I know the opposite.
We verbally vomit. We'd throw our entire life story onto this poor stranger. We tell them about our childhood pet, our recent trip to the dentist, everything. We completely lose control.
I have definitely done that verbal vomit, I won't lie.
Yeah,
You just keep talking, hoping that eventually you will say something interesting.
it happens to everyone, but that is exactly what we are deconstructing today. This is our deep dive into the art and science of the natural introduction.
Yes, today we are pulling apart some really great research and practical guides on how to make confident English introductions.
Ooh.
We are looking at how we present ourselves in all kinds of daily situations.
Professional settings, casual parties, and even digital spaces. And what is very important about our deep dive today is that we are not just giving you a list of words to memorize.
Right, because if you just memorize a script for your life, you will sound like a robot.
Exactly. Nobody wants to talk to a robot. Instead, we are looking at the psychology. We need to understand why some ways of speaking make the brain feel relaxed and why other ways make the conversation super awkward.
So our mission today is to give you, the listener, the real tools to never freeze up again. We want to help you move from feeling stressed, like, how do I survive this, to feeling excited, like, how do I make a real connection?
And the main concept that makes this possible, the absolute foundation of a good introduction, is something called the conversation hook.
The conversation hook. Okay, let's get into this. Because when I first read our sources about this, I had a little bit of doubt.
Ooh, why is that?
Well, the idea is that a good introduction is not just giving facts. It's about dropping these hooks, little pieces of information like your job, your city, or a hobby, so the other person can easily ask you about them.
Right.
But my first thought was, isn't that a bit manipulative? Like we're setting a trap for people to fall into.
Acha, I get why you might think that. It sounds like you are playing a game. But I would ask you to look at it differently. It is not manipulation at all. It is actually a very kind thing to do.
Kind. How so?
Think about what happens when two strangers meet. It is a very stressful environment for both of them. Their brains are working so hard. They are looking at body language, remembering to be polite, and trying desperately to find a topic to talk about.
It's like staring at a blank piece of paper. And anyone who has tried to write a story knows a blank page is terrifying.
That is a perfect example. If I walk up to you at a party and just say, "Hi, I'm Neha," and then I just stop talking, what did I just do?
You gave me the blank paper.
Exactly. I gave you zero help. Now you have to do all the hard work to invent a conversation out of thin air. It's actually a bit rude, honestly, because I am forcing you to carry the whole burden.
I see what you mean. If I just give my name, I am forcing you to interrogate me just to avoid an awkward silence.
Yeah.
You have to start guessing. So do you work here? Do you live nearby? Do you like the samosas?
Yes. But when you give conversation hooks, you make it so much easier for the other person. You are giving them a menu.
A menu, I like that.
You are saying, here are 3 or 4 different topics. Please choose the one that feels easy and fun for you to talk about. You are being a good host.
It is definitely true that ordering from a menu is much easier than walking into a kitchen and cooking from scratch.
Exactly. So let's look at this specific example from our sources because it makes this very clear. The source uses a girl named Ria.
Right, let's look at Ria.
If Ria just says, "Hi, I'm Ria," she gives the blank canvas. But using the hook strategy, she says this instead. "Hi, I'm Ria, a graphic designer who recently moved to Mumbai, and I'm really interested in photography and travel."
Okay, let's break that down because it really is quite smart. In just one simple sentence, she gave 4 completely different options for the other person.
Let's count them. First, graphic designer. That is a professional hook. It opens the door to talk about art, computers, or office life.
Second, recently moved to Mumbai. That is a location hook. And honestly, this one is gold.
Oh, it really is. Everyone has something to say about Mumbai, right? The traffic, the local trains, the food. It invites easy questions like, where did you move from? Or, how are you liking the city?
Geography is always safe.
Hmm.
Then she adds photography, which is a hobby hook, and travel, which is a lifestyle hook.
So she hasn't just stated her name, she laid out a full buffet of choices. Now, the listener doesn't have to guess. They can pick the topic that matches their own life.
If the listener's an artist, they talk about design. If they just took a vacation, they talk about travel. It's very smooth.
It really takes the pressure off.
But let me ask a tricky question here.
Mm.
Can you give too many hooks? Like, what if a listener hears this and thinks, great, I will give them 20 options.
Oh, boy.
And they walk up and say, hi, I'm Rahul. I am an accountant. I live in Delhi. My dog's name is Max. I play cricket. I like reading history books, and I am allergic to peanuts.
That is too much, Yer.
When does a helpful menu become just an overwhelming mess of information?
That is a very important point. Yes, you can absolutely overwhelm someone, and that ruins the whole purpose. If a restaurant gives you a menu with 400 dishes, you don't feel happy. You feel stressed.
True. Choice paralysis.
The goal is not to tell them everything about your life. The goal is to pick just a few good things. Ria's example is perfect because it's short and uses very broad, relatable topics.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Please don't feed me peanuts is not a great start to a friendship.
Not at all. The hooks you choose should be topics you actually want to talk about, and they should be things that are easy for others to connect with. A peanut allergy is important for your health, but it's terrible for a party chat.
Unless you're at a peanut factory, I guess.
True. And this idea of using hooks isn't just for talking face-to-face. It is actually how our whole digital life works today.
Wait, really? Like social media?
Think about it. When you make a bio on Instagram or LinkedIn, what are you doing? You write software engineer, food lover, weekend hiker.
Oh, wow. That is just a list of passive conversation hooks.
Exactly. You are throwing these hooks into the internet, hoping that someone sees one and starts a connection based on it. We are actually very good at doing this in writing.
That is so true. We do it online all the time. But doing it in person is much harder because we get nervous.
Exactly.
So we know logically we should give a few good hooks, but why do so many of us completely fail at this in real life? Our deep dive sources point out some very common, very painful mistakes we make.
Pitfalls.
Yes, the big mistakes. Let's start with the first one from our notes, which is called the documentary.
Ah, the documentary. This is what we called the verbal vomit earlier.
Right. You ask a simple question, and they give you an unedited 20-minute movie of their life.
They start with the hospital they were born in, their favorite teacher in school, all their past jobs, and somehow end up talking about their cousin's wedding from 2 years ago.
It feels like you are trapped. You are just standing there, nodding your head, thinking, how do I escape to get more food? But why do people do this? They don't want to be boring, right?
No, not at all. And it's really important we show some sympathy here. This happens because of social anxiety. For a nervous person, silence is terrifying.
Silence feels like failure to them.
Yes. They think if there is a pause, it means the conversation is going badly. So, to protect themselves, they build a wall of words. They just keep talking and talking, hoping they eventually say something good. They are just afraid to stop and let you speak.
That makes a lot of sense. They aren't trying to be annoying. They're just scared of the quiet.
Exactly. But then we have the second big mistake. And this one is the exact opposite. Instead of too many words, it's very robotic and stiff.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The sources specifically highlight a phrase that is very, very common, especially in Indian context. People introduce themselves by saying, myself, Rahul, or myself, Priya.
Yes. Myself, Rahul, it is such an interesting language habit. Now, technically, it gets the job done. The person knows your name. But from a social communication side, it feels very unnatural.
It sounds so formal.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like two humans chatting over chai. It sounds like a king announcing himself to his court. Why do we say it like that?
It's another type of defense mechanism. When people feel a lack of confidence, especially speaking in a second language like English, they often hide behind very formal, stiff grammar.
They think big, formal words sound more impressive or correct.
Right. Saying, I am Rahul is very direct, it's active, you are claiming your space. Saying, myself Rahul is a way to sound authoritative, to cover up nervousness. But what it actually does, it creates a tiny mental speed bump for the listener.
A speed bump, what do you mean?
When you meet someone, the first 10 seconds should be super smooth. If you say, hi, I'm Rahul, the brain processes it instantly. No effort.
But if I say myself, Rahul,
The listener's brain does a tiny pause. It sounds a bit weird, so their attention shifts from who you are to how you are speaking.
I see. It breaks the flow. It's like wearing a heavy winter coat to a beach party. Just keep it casual. Say I am.
Exactly. Just be a normal person.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the third big mistake, and this is my absolute favorite from the research, the product pitch.
Oh, the product pitch. This one is painful.
It really is.
This is when people try so hard to sound impressive at an office mixer or networking event that they stop sounding like humans and start sounding like a TV commercial.
The sources gave a hilarious example of this. It sounds like premium quality, reliable performance, improved communication skills.
Available for immediate hiring.
Yeah.
It is funny to joke about, but we see this so much today. People are told they need a personal brand. They are told to treat themselves like a CEO of a company.
And so young professionals start using these heavy corporate buzzwords. They strip away all their fun human personality just to sound like a perfect business product.
But the truth is, nobody wants to drink a coffee with a results-oriented team player.
No.
I want to talk to a person who maybe likes the same cricket team as me or watches the same movies.
That's the secret. If you act like a product, people will treat you like a product. The research gives a great example of that with hobbies. Some people describe their hobbies like a robot. My hobbies are reading books, listening to music, and playing cricket.
It sounds so mechanical, like they are reading from a Wikipedia page.
Right, but compare that to a natural human sentence, I am really into reading history right now, or I love playing cricket with my friends on Sundays.
Wow, just adding I am really into totally changes the feeling. It becomes warm.
Exactly. It shows passion, it shows you are a real person. In a room full of people acting like stiff corporate products, the person who acts relaxed and natural stands out immediately. Being a real human is your biggest advantage.
Okay, so the lessons here are clear. Don't be a documentary. Don't use stiff grammar like myself, and don't sell yourself like a TV ad.
Right.
But here is a challenge. Let's say you learn all this. You know how to give great natural hooks. But if you take that super casual, fun introduction and use it in a serious job interview, you are going to fail.
You will definitely fail.
Because one size does not fit all. To be good at communicating, you have to be like a chameleon.
You have to adapt.
Your introduction has to change depending on the room you are in. And this brings us to a huge part of our deep dive. Contextual relevance.
Yes, relevance. This is what separates okay speakers from great speakers. The research breaks down different environments. We have the scary job interview, the fun casual party, and the tricky first day at a new office.
Let's start with the scariest one. The formal job interview. You walk in, you sit down, and the HR manager asks the ultimate trap question. Tell me about yourself.
I get nervous just hearing that phrase.
It ruins so many people. Because I think most of us misunderstand what that question really means.
Completely. People hear, tell me about yourself, and they think the interviewer wants a biography. So they go back to the documentary mistake. They talk about their hometown, their parents' jobs, or their school days.
Which has nothing to do with the job they applied for.
Exactly. There is an unspoken rule in communication. You only give information that matters for that specific moment. When an interviewer asks, tell me about yourself, the hidden meaning is actually, tell me about the version of yourself that can solve my company's problems.
Tell me about the version of yourself that is relevant to this room. That is a massive mental shift.
They do not care about your pet dog unless you are applying to be a vet.
Right. Our notes have a perfect example of how to answer this well. Listen to this. I have 3 years of experience in content writing. In my current role, I manage social media campaigns, which I really enjoy. I am now looking for an opportunity to develop my strategy skills.
It is brilliant. So clean.
Very crisp.
It covers the present situation, the exact relevant experience, and the future goal. She didn't mention her hobbies or her hometown. Not because she is lying, but because they are just not relevant to that specific room.
But wait, I have a big question here, especially for a lot of our younger listeners. What if you are a college student or a fresher?
The fresher problem.
Right. If your resume is basically totally empty, how do you introduce yourself professionally? You don't have 3 years of experience to talk about. If you can't talk about the past, and you shouldn't talk about your childhood, what do you say?
It's a very real problem, but the strategy is actually quite simple. If you don't have a professional past, you focus on your potential future.
Okay, how does that sound?
The research says students should focus on their studies, specific interests, any college projects, and future goals. So instead of saying, I don't have any experience, which sounds weak.
You change the focus.
Yes, you say something like, I am currently studying communication. I recently worked on a college project for the student magazine, and I am very interested in starting a career in digital writing.
Oh, that is so much better.
Yeah.
You're still giving hooks, student magazine, digital writing, but they're based on your energy and your learning, not your past jobs.
Exactly. It sends a strong message. It says, I may be new, but I am focused and I have direction. It is a very confident way for a student to introduce themselves.
That is fantastic advice. Okay, so that is the professional side. Now let's flip to the totally opposite side, the casual environment. A friend's birthday party or a wedding function.
The rules completely change here.
If you take that super focused, career-driven introduction and use it at a party, people will think you are crazy.
If you walk up to someone eating cake and say, hi, I am looking to develop my strategy skills in digital media, they will just slowly walk away from you.
I want to maximize our snack eating potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants that.
In a casual setting, your goal is not to prove you are a good worker. Your goal is to show you are a friendly, safe person. The source material compares this to a game of ping pong.
Ping pong, like back and forth quickly.
Yes. Short, quick, easy exchanges. It sounds like this. Hi, I don't think we've met. I'm Neha.
Nice to meet you. I'm Rahul. How do you know the host?
Oh, we went to college together. What about you?
See, the rhythm is totally different. It is a volley, not a big speech.
And look at the hooks used there. They are all about the immediate shared situation, the party, the host. You establish a connection first. You prove you belong there. Only after you feel comfortable do you ask about jobs or other things.
Read the room, basically.
Yeah.
But I want to ask about a situation that is very common nowadays, which is kind of a mix of both.
You mean online meetings?
Yes, exactly. Zoom calls, remote work, startup culture. The lines are totally blurred now. You might be in a serious strategy meeting, but you are sitting at your kitchen table in a t-shirt. How do we introduce ourselves in that mixed environment?
This is the biggest communication challenge today. The wall between professional and casual is broken. If you show up to a remote startup meeting and give a super stiff, formal introduction, you won't sound smart. You will sound out of test.
Like you don't fit the culture.
Exactly. So the modern online introduction needs a really clever mix of both types of hooks. You need to show you can do the job, but also show you are a friendly person.
How would that sound in practice?
You might say, hi, everyone. I am joining the marketing team to help with the new launch. And I'm also hoping to find out who here shares my love for terrible 90s Bollywood movies.
Oh, I love that. You give the professional hook marketing team new launch so they know you are useful, but immediately you soften it with a funny, human hook about movies.
It proves you are good at your job, but also safe to have a virtual tea break with. It just takes a little bit of awareness to read the vibe of the digital room.
Okay, so let's say our listener has practiced all of this. They have their hooks ready. They know how to read the room. They know exactly what words to use.
That's great.
But we all know that having a script in your head is only half the battle. Because when you actually open your mouth, things can go wrong physically. If your body language is terrible, or if your brain forgets a word halfway through, the perfect hooks won't save you.
That is so true. Communication is a full-body sport.
Let's talk about the physical side of introductions and what to do when things go wrong. The research points out a few basics: comfortable posture, a natural smile, and natural eye contact.
I am so glad we are talking about eye contact, because the research had a really funny warning about this. It specifically said, do not stare without blinking for 2 minutes straight.
It's so funny, but people actually do this. We are always told, Make strong eye contact to show confidence. And some people take it so literally, they just stare at you like a robot or a serial killer.
Yes. Trying to fake confidence by staring actually makes people feel very uncomfortable. In human psychology, staring without breaking eye contact is often seen as a challenge or a threat.
We think we look powerful, but the other person's brain is screaming, "Why is this guy staring into my soul?"
Natural eye contact has a rhythm. You look at them, then you naturally look away for a second to think of a word, and then you look back. It is a soft dance, not a laser beam.
It's like holding a bird. If you hold it too tight, you crush it. Just relax. But speaking of forgetting words, what happens when you are relaxed, you are talking smoothly, and then suddenly you just forget what you were saying?
Oh, the mind blank.
Yes. The panic hits. Most people just freeze, or they start saying, sorry, and they look so nervous.
The panic is normal, but the research gives us a great tool here. It is a language trick called reformulation.
Reformulation. Big word. What does it mean simply?
It just means having a few simple English phrases ready in your pocket to save the conversation. Phrases like, how can I put this? Or, let me say that differently.
When I read that in the notes, it was so relieving. Because normally, if we pause or stumble, we feel like we failed. But this research says that pausing and rephrasing is actually what highly confident speakers do.
Absolutely. People mistakenly think that being fluent means speaking as fast as a machine gun without ever stopping, but studies show the exact opposite. Smart, confident speakers pause all the time.
They use these phrases to buy time.
Yes. Saying, what I'm trying to say is, gives your brain 1 or 2 seconds to find the right word. And it tells the listener, I care about being clear, so I am going to slow down and find the right words. Clear and comfortable is always better than fast and confusing.
I have a comparison for this. Let's see if you agree. Using these phrases, like, let me say that differently, is exactly like using the clutch in a manual car.
Oh, the clutch. Okay, explain that.
If you are driving a stick shift car and you need to change gears, if you just force the gear stick without pressing the clutch, the car makes a terrible grinding noise, it jerks, and the engine might completely shut off, right?
Right, the car stalls.
When you are talking and you suddenly forget a word, that is the gears grinding. If you just panic and stammer or completely freeze in silence, the conversation stalls. The engine dies.
That is a great picture.
But when you use a phrase like, how can I put this? You are pressing the conversational clutch. You disconnect the engine for just a second. The car rolls smoothly while your brain finds the right word. You shift gears, and then you let go of the clutch and keep driving.
That is a perfect analogy. The phrase saves the momentum of the conversation. It stops the awkward crash. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to know how to use the clutch.
Exactly. But before we move on, I have to ask about physicality on video calls. We talked about Zoom culture earlier. The research says make natural eye contact. But on a video call, natural eye contact is completely fake, isn't it?
It is the most exhausting thing. To make the other person feel like you're looking into their eyes, you have to completely ignore their face on your screen.
You have to stare at that tiny glowing camera dot at the top of your laptop.
Which goes against all our human instincts. We are wired to look at human faces to see their expressions. Staring at a piece of plastic glass feels so wrong.
It really does. It takes so much energy to force yourself to look at the lens and smile at a machine. No wonder we all get Zoom fatigue.
It is a performance. You have to consciously remind yourself, look at the dot, don't look at yourself, smile. It is very tiring.
Okay, so let's imagine you do all this perfectly. You gave your hooks, you read the room, you used the clutch when you forgot a word, you looked at the camera dot, and then you finish your sentence. Your introduction is done.
You survive.
But wait, now there is silence. The introduction is over. What do you do with that heavy, scary silence that follows? This brings us to the final and maybe most important part, the handoff and the name game.
The handoff. This is the moment where an introduction either turns into a real conversation or it just dies a very awkward death.
It is a make or break moment.
And the research is very clear. The easiest and most necessary way to keep the energy going is to pass the ball back to the other person.
Pass the ball, like a relay race.
Yes, you have to hand them the baton. A conversation is a two-way street. If you give your perfect introduction and then just stand there silently staring at them, it's weird. You treated it like a solo stage performance.
You have to invite them to speak. What are the best phrases for this handoff?
The material gives a very simple list. Things like, what about you? Or how about yourself? Or what brings you to this event?
They sound so simple.
Yeah.
Almost too simple, right?
They do. But when we are nervous, we completely forget to use them. We think our job is done the moment we stop speaking. But these simple questions are the bridge between your hooks and their hooks.
By asking, what about you? You are politely saying, I am done sharing. Now please, the floor is yours. It shows you are curious about them.
And socially, being curious about someone else is the most charming thing you can do. People just want to feel heard.
But even if you are super charming and you do the perfect handoff, there is one universal, highly embarrassing tragedy that happens to almost everyone.
Oh, I know it is coming.
Our sources tackle this head on. It is the moment when someone tells you their name, you look them in the eye, and 3 seconds later the name is completely gone from your brain.
Instant name amnesia, it happens to everyone in every culture, year. It unites all of humanity in awkwardness.
Our notes describe the hilarious things people do to hide this mistake. You spend the next hour trying not to use any names.
Where you call them generic things like, hey, my friend, buddy, chief, boss.
Yes, boss is a classic. Or my personal favorite, the risky spy trick. You introduce them to a third friend, and you just pray they say their own name again. Hey, Emmett, meet my new friend here. And then you wait for them to save you.
It is so stressful, but instead of just laughing at it, the research explains the psychology of why this happens. Why does our brain, which remembers movie dialogues from 10 years ago, immediately delete this person's name?
Yeah, why? Because it feels so rude when we forget. It feels like we don't care.
It is not about being rude at all. It is a psychological thing called the next in line effect.
Next in line, meaning what?
When you are meeting someone, especially if you have to introduce yourself immediately after they speak, your brain is 100% focused on your own performance.
You are mentally practicing your own line.
Exactly. Your brain is screaming, okay, stand straight, smile, use your hooks, don't say myself, Rahul. Because your brain is so busy stressing about your own turn, it literally does not record the sound of their name into your long-term memory.
Wow. We hear the sound, but the brain forgets to press the save button because it's overloaded.
Yes. We are so focused on surviving the introduction that we don't actively listen. It's a biological glitch, not a character flaw.
Okay, so since it is a biological glitch, what is the best way to handle it? Is the meet my friend spy trick the only way out? Because admitting you forgot feels terrible.
The spy trick works sometimes, but it's risky. If the third person doesn't ask for their name, you are still trapped. The research says the absolute best, most confident move is radical honesty. Just confess.
Confess. How do you do that without sounding like a jerk?
You use a specific framing. You say something like, I am so sorry, I was so focused on what you were saying about moving to Mumbai that your name completely slipped my mind. Could you tell me again?
Oh, wow. That is so smooth.
Yeah.
You flatter them by showing you remembered their hook moving to Mumbai, which proves you were listening to them. That completely makes up for forgetting the name.
Exactly. It shows you care about who they are. It is much, much better to just ask again in the first 2 minutes than to be caught calling them boss an hour later.
The cover-up is always worse than the crime. Just ask again politely.
Right. And I think this brings us back to the main point of everything we discussed today.
The big picture.
Yes. The goal of an introduction is not to be a perfect robot. The goal is to make a human connection. Stumbling over a word, using the clutch, forgetting a name because you are a bit nervous. These are human moments.
If you handle them with a smile and honesty, it actually makes you more likable than someone who sounds like a perfect corporate advertisement.
Perfection is boring. Vulnerability connects people.
That is beautifully said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's quickly recap the main takeaways from all our sources. We talked about hooks, the data dump, the robotic pitch, reading the room, and the handoff. But if we make it super simple, a good introduction needs 3 things.
Clarity, relevance, and personality.
Clarity meaning use simple, clear English so they understand you easily. Don't rush.
Relevance meaning you adjust your hooks to match the room, whether it's an interview or a birthday party.
And personality meaning you share real, human things about yourself that invite a real conversation.
You don't need to memorize a script. You just need to have a few good, true things to say and be ready to ask them questions too.
And for all our listeners out there learning English, remember this. You do not need perfect vocabulary to make a great impression.
Not at all.
You just need a little practice and the courage to be a natural, friendly person. The pressure is off.
Just be yourself with a few good hooks ready in your pocket.
Exactly. Now, before we go, I want to leave you, the listener, with a quick homework assignment. A little provocative thought for you to try out this week.
Oh, a challenge. I like it.
Next time you are in a very low-stress situation, maybe buying vegetables, getting a coffee, or chatting with someone in your building, pay very close attention to your default introduction.
The one you use automatically without thinking?
Yes. When they ask what you do, what hooks do you automatically throw out? Do you immediately give a boring job title? Do you complain about the weather? Do you use stiff grammar?
That is a great self-check.
Right. Ask yourself, do those automatic hooks really reflect the fun, interesting person you are? Do they lead to the kind of conversations you want to have?
Because if they don't, it might be time to change your bait, change your hooks, change your conversations.
Exactly. So the next time you are standing at that party with your chai and a stranger walks up and asks, "Tell me about yourself," you will be ready.
No freezing, no verbal vomit.
Just a friendly smile, a great menu of hooks, and the start of a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Keep practicing, and we will catch you next time.